We begin by queering up breaking news. Florida House passes Don't Say Gay and Woke, We Will Sue You bills. Only 7 Republicans say no. Today, the Florida House voted on 2 of the most anti-LGBTQ+ bills in America, setting Florida as ground zero on the culture war against the queer community. After more than 2 months of national and international attention on Florida's implementation of legal hate, the House made it a reality. Now to go to the Florida Senate. Don't Say Gay passed by a 69-47 margin, with only 7 Republicans voting no. If the Senate passes the bill, Governor Ron DeSantis has already signaled the bill to prevent conversation of LGBTQ, Black, Brown, and other issues from being discussed in Florida schools. Perhaps even more radical, the so-called woke bill also passed the House. The bill will allow parents to sue teachers and schools if students feel uncomfortable for issues discussed in the classroom. For example, if a teacher had a discussion on LGBTQ Stonewall history or the events surrounding the Pulse shooting, the teacher and the school could both be sued. The bill passed by even a larger margin of 74-41. Queer News Tonight will continue to closely monitor the actions occurring in our state's capital.
That is just so disheartening.
How infuriating.
It's child abuse. It's child abuse to these young people.
But what kind of education are we offering to these young people?
A whitewashed education. That's what they're getting.
A whitewashed education, an incomplete education. We're removing the invitation and the soil and the space to create critical thinking and like discernment and those things that you need to be a contributing adult.
Yeah.
Who are the snowflakes now, huh?
Right. Yeah. And
crazy.
The entire part of it that kills me is that we're making it even harder for the youth in our community, right?
Yeah.
And
Absolutely.
so we already know the statistics around suicide for our community, and I feel like this is just going to increase that.
Absolutely.
And that makes me so sad. It's a disgrace.
You know, we all remember how we felt before coming out entirely, right? Where you feel like you're all alone and nobody understands you, and then you find that adult, that light, right? That is like that tells you that it's going to be okay, that you are not that you're not crazy and you're not going to hell and all that. And it's usually in a teacher or somebody like that, you know. At least for me, it was from my drama teacher, you know, because all gays, we got to love the theater, right? So just the thought that Miss Parisi in Jersey could not be her true authentic self to me, you know, when I was a kid, I wouldn't be sitting here right now without that. You know, and that she could get in trouble too.
And listen, guys, there's so many levels of infringement on civil rights here that we're talking about this. So I just don't understand how these kind of bills continue to show up in our legislation
You're not supposed to romanticize history.
You know, the reality is, I believe if this will go to Supreme Court. There's no question. And I'm just hoping, and we've seen some of the Trump-appointed justices like Kavanaugh, who voted for the LGBT community's right to work, which was a shocker. But I believe, you know, some of these justices can see deeper into it, and they're not stuck into the backward-looking Republican Party. So I have a very strong belief and hope that the Supreme Court will throw this out.
Cindy, you inspire me daily. You just do. You're an icon. You really are. And the fact that you still have hope, right? Because my hope diminishes a little bit each day. You know what I mean?
Let me clarify that a little bit. I have hope, but I'm going to work my ass off to bring attention to this so that, you know, more people are aware. I think there are a lot more parents that are horrified by this than
those that are not. And it's going to encourage activism. And we're going to get back to a generation of activism, surprisingly.
And let me tell you,
we're going to start seeing more people speak up.
The kids are going to become activists at a much younger age. They're already doing
Generation Z, right?
Absolutely.
They're going to be our activists.
I don't even know what it is, but they're the young people who are
the generation that's more comfortable with their queerness.
Right.
Yeah.
They're going to be the ones that are going to stand up.
You know, the fact that we still celebrate Christopher Columbus Day. Okay, let's talk. You know,
well, the thing is,
it's like, do I live in a crazy world?
Are we going to continue to negate human rights? Because within that shell, then there's women's rights.
Exactly.
And then there's inclusion. So you really get to hide a lot within history when we pass these type of of laws. On the outside looking in, it's just the gay community.
And
however, we know that it's other issues within history that we're not going to address anymore.
And the world is watching. The world has always watched the United States as being a beacon of freedom and acceptance. And bring your tired and weary and poor and you know, countries around the world are going, what
Are they going back in time?
Are
they going back in time?
Yes. Like what happened? Cheeto Head just totally messed them up, you know?
Oh, no.
Wow. Well, we've got a lot to talk about.
We do.
Welcome to Queer News Tonight, the world's first and only LGBTQ plus daily evening news show. Here at the Happening Out Television Network, we believe it is important to make sure that all members of our community have a voice. Tonight, we focus on the voices of the women who represent the L in our LGBTQ plus community with a special lesbian takeover. One of my favorite shows. I love doing this show with you guys. So it's time to queer up the news. It's 8 p.m. Thursday, February 24th, 2022, and we are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. So many of your important stories we're going to tell this evening on Queer News Tonight.
This is the world's first live daily LGBTQ evening news show, literally out of the closet and into the headlines on Queer News Tonight with Al Ferguson.
Thank you for joining Queer News Tonight. This is the world's first and only unedited live LGBTQ plus evening news show. Whatever happens, you will see it. Queer News Tonight is supported by viewers like you. We are part of the partnership between Happening Out Television Network and Hot Spots Magazine. Hot Spots is celebrating 36 years of the LGBTQ plus experience. We bring you the best of LGBTQ plus news, entertainment, and support our community.
Thank you, Miss LaTonya. And talking about Hot Spots Magazine, look who's on the cover!
Made it!
Miss FayWhat!
Looking gorgeous.
Thank you, Hot Spots. You know, I found out that in the 36 years, they've only had five or six women on the cover, and the fact that I'm one of those women
you're one.
is ridiculous. And Hot Spots, thank you for giving a space to a lesbian on your cover. Unheard of. We feel seen, and it's because you do things like that. So thank you, Hot Spots.
We're so proud of you, Faye. It was so gorgeous and sexy.
You gotta open it and get to the center page.
Listen, I'm a girl of a certain age, all right, and I got scars, and I've been through a lot, and I have battled addiction and all kinds of stuff. I'm not a size 0. I will never be, but I am proud of the woman that stands in front of me today. And that was what we did in Hot Spots. We got naked. We're like, pick up your copy today or check it out online at Hot Spots Magazine. Awesome. All right, so I am your anchor at Queer News Tonight, FayWhat. Let's welcome anchor Chef Josie, mi amiga, mi hermana. She is she is a Bravo TV top chef and the master of the popular champagne and oyster celebration restaurant, Bubbles and Pearls. Oh, you gotta try their lamb. It's ridiculous. Like I want to rub it on a girl. Like I really do, and I just want to. Anyway.
If we can bring the camera, I'm totally down to arrange that.
Oh my God! Oh, they have such yummy food at Bubbles and Pearls. Anyway, it's right on the heart of the famous Wilton Drive. She's also known by her alter ego, the hot DJ lady, Snack Daddy. Welcome, Mama. Hi.
Hey, everybody. What's going on? I'm so excited to be here again, and I love it when the ladies take over. So let's get this party started, and let's welcome Cindy Brown. She's an icon in the LGBTQ community. She was an early organizer of Miami AIDS Walk, the White Party for Care Resource, and other major events. She has served as the executive director of Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chamber Foundation and LGBTQ Visitor Center. She is the founding executive director of Miami Beach Pride and currently serves as a program manager for Jewish Community Services LGBTQ Lambda Living Program for LGBT seniors. Woo.
Wow, what don't you do, Cindy?
Like, when does she sleep? That's what I want to know.
Doesn't it make us
hashtag icon living here? Okay.
Every time I hear this intro read, I'm like,
did I do that?
I'm so tired.
Good evening, Cindy.
Yes, well, now let's welcome LaTonya Hopson, a Florida native and diversity advocate. She's dedicated to building awareness of holistic wellness in the Black and Brown communities. LaTonya provides faith-based services for mental health, physical fitness, and emotional therapy through alternative methods. LaTonya is the owner and operator of Top Notch Sports and Fitness. TNSNF educates and enlightens others to have a holistically, spiritually balanced lifestyle. LaTonya is looking forward to sharing her passion as a holistic spiritual counselor to engage others in diverse topics of empowering individuals to walk their purpose authentically. Good evening, LaTonya.
Good evening, Queens. Glad to be here with my favorite crew of ladies on the Lesbian Takeover.
Yes. And I have to note that I have to give you big kudos for being an exceptional lead on the Afro-Black Takeover. Girl, you turned it out. LaTonya was sitting in this chair
following
and
behind your footsteps.
Nothing. Nothing. It was like, I never sat here, girl. She was just like, I got this.
You all warmed it up for me, okay?
Let's go. The only female on the cast, and she took it over. She was incredible.
She was incredible.
So go back and watch it.
Yes, if you haven't seen it, it's a must-see, definitely.
Let's continue to support one another, Queens.
Yes, ma'am. Yes.
All right, let's welcome anchor Lexi Goza, chair of Miami-Dade Gay and Lesbian Chambers Women's Empowerment Council, board member of the Aqua Foundation for Women. She is also the founder and former president of PFLAG Melbourne and former president of Space Coast Pride. She owns a State Farm insurance agency. She is reliable and legit, so be sure you check her out. Location is in downtown Miami. Certified as an LGBTQ plus business enterprise by the National Gay and Lesbian Chamber of Commerce. Good evening, Lex.
Thank you, LaTonya. I'm so excited to be here. I absolutely love sitting on this panel with all of these incredibly talented, smart, intellectual, and of course, beautiful and stunning and sexy women.
And Lexi, kudos to you for being the incredible entrepreneur, business owner that you are, lesbian, representing all you do wherever you go. You are an incredible mom and just, you inspire, my friend.
Your intro makes me tired.
Oh, okay. Gosh. Because there's a lot of great things going on here.
I don't feel like
all around this table we got great things going on.
Yes, living,
right?
Go.
Tonight we are the reporters for Queer News Tonight, and this evening we begin with the queer headlines. The LGBTQ plus community in South Florida and across America is diverse. Our community is vast, and here are the bullet points of the queer news for today, Thursday, February 24th.
So let's begin by queering up the world. You are the past is battle cry of LGBTQ Ukrainians' defiant message to Putin after invasion. Late last night, news broke here in the U.S. that bombings of the Ukraine by Russian forces had begun. Putin televised his announcement of the military operation, much to the shock of the rest of the world. Russia has targeted the Kyiv airport as well as Ukrainian military command posts in Kyiv and Kharkov. Kyiv Pride, one of the country's biggest LGBTQ plus rights groups, hit out at Russia and Vladimir Putin on Twitter on Thursday morning as news of the invasion broke. They tweeted, quote, "To all our supporters in the world, call on your governments to stand up and to take action against the war in Ukraine. We need to stop it now. We need to show how powerful we are all together, and Putin will stand no chance," end quote. Wow, it happened. It really happened.
It really did.
This is really scary.
Yeah.
You know, Vladimir Putin is like a cowboy thinking he's taking over countries, What is that?
Yeah.
I thought we stopped doing that years ago.
The name alone frightens me.
His name Putin, that's it? I call him putrid Putin.
And look at the picture.
And when we think about it, I mean, you see these images now coming out of, of Ukraine, and we have bombs being, blasted into residential areas. Okay, these are this is just and then Putin also stating that if anyone retaliates, that he's going to show the world a horror that we have not seen in our lifetime. This is not only scary because we've allowed him to just sit in power there, continuing to gain resources and solidify his grip in that part of the world. And
our former president celebrated that fact.
Exactly.
Well, and do we even have to talk about the kill list that they were
Right.
about?
I'm glad you brought that up.
That's awful. We talked about it on Queer News Tonight yesterday. And the kill list has journalists, has advocates, has activists, but also primarily has LGBTQ folks on that list.
Absolutely.
So basically they would come into your house, take you out, and kill you or put you in a concentration camp for loving who you love.
Right.
Absolutely.
So we were
and that's going to be okay.
We were talking about that on Queer News Tonight last night, right? And so my thought around this article today is what courage it took them to tweet that out, right?
Absolutely.
Because nowadays with social media, it's much easier to identify people who are LGBTQ, and for them to stand up and say, please help us, I feel like is a huge act of courage.
Wow, it's just courage all around. I had mentioned yesterday that I had seen a news, I think it was CNN or something, and it was like a desperate mother pleading with her son to please come home. He fell in love with a boy in Ukraine and stays there and doesn't want to come home because he doesn't want to leave him. And his mom is bawling, like, please, honey, you're an American, get home. I can't, Mom, I can't leave. You know, I mean, it's heartbreaking. We'll be following this, and prayers being sent out to all those people on the kill list, and Putin, I'd love to leave that there.
Yes.
All right.
So now let's move on to queering up religion. The Supreme Court to hear case on religious versus LGBTQ rights. It's the cake drama all over again, but now in the digital age. The Supreme Court is set to hear a case of a Colorado web designer who says her religious beliefs prevent her from offering wedding website designs to gay couples. The High Court said Tuesday it would hear the case of Lori Smith, a Denver area designer, offers graphic and website design services and wants to expand to wedding website services. But she says her Christian beliefs would lead her to decline any request from a same-sex couple to design a wedding website. She plans to post a disclaimer on her website. However, this would violate Colorado's anti-discrimination laws. The Supreme Court said in taking the case that it would look only at the free speech issue. It said it would decide whether a law that requires an artist to speak or stay silent violates the free speech clause of the First Amendment. The case is expected to be argued in the fall. Here we go again.
Why is this so important, ladies? Why can't a couple that's getting married go find somebody else to do their wedding?
Right?
Well, first of all,
you don't want my money?
It's okay.
Cool.
I'm being devil's advocate.
It's
Your
the principle.
preference, your
it's
choice.
The principle, because she cannot deny doing a wedding website for a black couple or an interracial couple because it's a violation of the law.
Yes.
LGBT should be added to those.
And that's what we were saying on our, Black community takeover, is that, history is also repeating itself because it's wanting us to choose. Choose to fight for if you're a woman. Choose to fight if you're black or brown. Choose to fight for if you are a young person trying to survive in America. So the case here is, what is your fight? What is your stance?
Right.
And if we continue to just separate human rights, guess what? We're never going to get anywhere.
Exactly.
Well, and then we were just talking about this the other day, and what we're seeing here is a dilution. They just started to divide. It's human rights. Human rights.
Period.
We have to continue to separate.
But we continue to separate
we're
women rights
ourselves
from black rights, from gay
all
rights. We
human
have to stop
beings.
doing that.
Because divided people are easier to conquer.
Exactly.
That's right.
Well, and that's why we need to unify.
And they're being miseducated.
Well, and she wanted to put something on her website to deter LGBTQ+. So what would she put? No rainbow people? Like, what would you put? Claws.
And let it,
She has a tattoo on her arm. I just want to say that according to traditional and religion structure of the Bible,
you're not supposed to.
So.
Yeah, but you know what it is.
They pick and choose.
You cherry pick and choose.
Cherry picking out of the Bible. So here we go again.
And she looks like a Karen to me, so her name's no longer whatever.
Her name is not Lori, her name is Karen.
It's Karen, and this feels like a huge publicity grab, right? So she's going to generate some extra business for her wedding website design from the people who agree with her.
You're absolutely right. Yep.
All right.
All right.
Well, Next, Queer Up the USA. Altered U.S. flag debuts over LGBTQ plus injustice from Un-United States of America. The Human Rights Campaign has recently launched a campaign meant to draw attention to the lack of protections for the LGBTQ plus community in much of the country. The campaign features an altered U.S. flag dubbed the reality flag. It features only 21 stars, drawing attention to the missing 29 stars representing the states that do not have protections for LGBTQ plus individuals. The HRS hopes to draw attention to the need for Congress to pass the Equality Act so that all LGBTQ plus Americans can have equal protections under the law. Find out more at realityflag.com. Watch this.
America. 50 states promising freedom for all. But today, under state law in 29 states, a business could refuse service because of who you love. Housing could be denied because of your gender identity. Medical care could be rejected because you're a woman with a wife. In 29 states, basic freedoms are missing for millions of LGBTQ plus Americans. This flag is the LGBTQ plus reality. But we can change it because this is America.
Am I the only one that got goosebumps?
I totally got goosebumps. Yeah. I want one of those flags.
I want one of those flags. Doesn't it put things in perspective, ladies? Like, wow, it's 2022, and there's only 21 states that actually protect us from discrimination.
Yeah, and that visual representation is so huge. Like goosebumps on goosebumps.
And you know what? You don't need to be afraid of me or any of the rest of us. You know, people act like we're some kind of monsters, you know, get over it.
Right. People are fearful of who they don't understand.
Exactly. But at this point in time, everybody knows someone who's
so people
LGBT.
choose.
You think so?
They choose to not.
At this point,
right?
What I'm
choice
really appreciating is the powerful messaging in this marketing campaign. It's to raise awareness and get this conversation that we're having right now, like fully
engaged,
fleshed out and engaged. And so for anyone who's watching, right, HRC, for those of us who don't know about HRC, this is why it's so important to support their work, their organization, because this is the kind of messaging that needs to get out there, because I think that anyone in their right frame of mind can take a look at that and see and probably agree that that just doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and it's not fair. It's against basic fairness.
It doesn't. You know, and the HRC, I went to the HRC dinner this past Saturday. Thank you for the invitation, Nicole. Love you. And it really puts things in perspective. It really it shows you the companies that go to bat for us, the companies that don't go to bat for us. And this is what they do. You know, they state that LGBTQ holds millions and millions of votes in this country. Right. You know, and a lot of us, after we were able to marry, just kind of said, ja, I got my rights, I'm done, I don't need to do anymore. And that is farther from the truth. Yes. That could be taken away from us at any given time.
Yep, 100%.
That's why we got to keep diligent and keep fighting.
Yep.
Fight
activism.
Yep.
Let's go. Fist up. All right, well, let's get into it, guys, and queer up some gay culture. DeLaria says Butch lesbians get non-stop abuse from the LGBTQ community. In a recent interview with British website Pink News, DeLaria discussed how her comedy has evolved over the years. She talks about how in the 80s, quote, my room was always filled with dykes and fags. I could talk about our culture to my people and there was nobody doing that, end quote. She also explains after how she was cast as a predatory lesbian in Friends, her role in Orange is the New Black helped change views. She also talks about infighting within the community and how we need to start showing more love to each other. In the interview, she says, quote, I think it's time for us to approach each other within our own community with love. And yes, I get it, it's difficult. I'm a fucking Butch Dyke. I've looked the way I look my entire fucking life. Do you have any clue what it's like to be who I am within our community? It's nonstop, the abuse I get from within my own community. But I still haven't become this person. I still try to approach those people with love in my heart and say, this is what's going on.
You know, absolutely. I have
a lot, huh?
There was a situation that it really angered me. A woman, a lesbian in our community, posted on Facebook about a friend of hers who's beautiful and couldn't understand why she would want to date somebody that, quote, looks like a man, end quote.
And this was from a lesbian.
And this is from a lesbian, and some of you around the table might know her. But I was happy to see that the comments were, how could, you know, what is wrong with
Quick
you?
to put her in check.
What, you know, what are you saying? That is disgusting. And, you know, but when people say that, that means that under the surface, there are a lot more that think it. And, you know.
Think what? You're agreeing with the fact that she is constantly being abused, but because she's butch?
Well, I've experienced some of it. I mean, you know, some of the more feminine lesbians are like, well, you're not a woman.
You're not feminine enough.
You're not feminine
I get that
enough.
as well.
And you know, and when I had breast cancer, I went through so many more surgeries because I wanted to make sure I had reconstruction. Because if I didn't have reconstruction, my chest would be flat. And I'm a woman. I may you know, dress in a certain way, I may present myself in a certain way, but I am 100% woman and 100%
And I think everyone
lesbian.
here is representation of our own femininity and energy. And I'm glad that, Josie, you covered this story, because hearing you, you know, say the story, it was felt differently with passion. So that's why I'm glad that you read that story, because now I'm even more open to how she felt. I felt her feelings.
Well, you know, listen, Leah, you know, her and I, we've run into each other a few times through this life. And I'll say this, you know, let's go butch lesbians. Y'all, you know, you don't have to be like an extinct animal, you know, like starting to endangered animal list, okay? That's not what it's about. And you know what, like, butches like me who flow in and out of my gender identity and,
Sexually
you know, have sexually fluid and all that other fun stuff. And, you know, really what happens? You just call me daddy, and I'm okay with that, okay? So, you know.
But I think we have to support one another in our community.
Absolutely.
Maybe that's the fight that some women are afraid of. Well, if I don't speak against what I'm not comfortable with, oh, they're going to get the rights. And I'm going to be left behind. And that's really part of it, when we're really all together.
Absolutely.
I loved her quote, and then, so it was hard for me kind of to reconcile, you know, her use of the words fag and dyke, and because in some cases it's very triggering. Like the one best friend that I lost as a result of coming out kept calling me dyke.
Oh my God, okay.
You know, and so.
In a derogatory kind of way.
In a derogatory way. But then, you know, you think about it in the context, and it makes total sense. And I love the way that she can go back and forth between, you know, saying the F word, dropping the F-bomb over and over again, and then talking about how we need to love each other.
Exactly.
You know, so I think that her viewpoint is valid, and we need to listen.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
How about her role on Friends? You know that Friends, it was one of those things that you love to binge watch stuff, right? So like I was just like, oh, let me go back and watch some Friends episodes, and I was trying to look for LGBTQ representation. So of course I Googled, right? And there was like only like 13 times that like any kind of gay representation in all the years of Friends, okay? One of those times was Leia, and she was a predatory lesbian where she was hitting on everyone in a not so nice way, and that was the representation that we had.
Well, and the only other representation.
Lock up your wives, hide your wives.
Hide your wives, because the lesbians are coming for them, and don't have a threesome because your wife will marry that woman, and you'll be done. So
and, you know, I'm just glad that GLAAD has done so much work, and that
another great organization.
Exactly, those kind of representations are changing a little bit.
That is true.
Yeah, well, I like that Leia had the guts to speak out and speak her truth. Her truth is her truth. You know, at the end of the day, I don't know what it's like to walk around looking butchy or anything like that. I know I get my own kind of weird looks when I say I'm gay, you know, and it's a whole different experience, you know. But she let us into her world and what goes on in her, and that is we're lesbians. We all stick together. So
let your truth heal and not do harm.
And she's been repping this community for a long
decades.
Out, bold, and proud. And, you know, hats off to Leia.
We see you, boo.
Yeah.
All right. Next, we're queering up gay culture. Queer women reveal the most toxic comments from straight men. Oh my. So this goes back to what Faye was talking about a little bit ago about the comments we receive as femme lesbians. So if you've never been on Reddit, it is a very unique social platform where groups of people with similar interests gather in subreddits to discuss topics. From news to porn, there's a little bit of everything there. Recently, lesbians on Reddit have been sharing toxic conversations men have had with them in the subreddit r/creepy PMs. We've gathered some of the top ones for our anchors to discuss. This is going to be fun.
When one woman was being flirted with online by a man, she let him know that she was gay. He said she was a carpet muncher and that she would be going to hell for being gay.
Heard it.
Heard it. Yep. Absolutely.
Okay, everyone here on the table who has heard that.
Yep.
I remember hearing it and having to look it up.
Right.
What is that? And then I was like, and then when I found out what it was, I was like, yep, that's me.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely.
Let's take it back. Oh, that picture is everything.
I know.
That picture is everything. Is that my ex? That looks like my. Okay. All right.
All right.
You guys have heard that, of course. Right? And you're going to hell
and
because
the fact
of course
that,
of it.
We're all going to hell.
It's like so original.
Yes.
So original. I'm still waiting for my invitation to hell, so come on, you know.
At least it'll be fun if we're all going to be there.
Yeah.
Wow, lots of carpet munching.
Yeah.
Sounds like a party.
Lesbian takeover of hell.
Sponsored by Carpet Mania.
So, you know, another user shared a chat conversation where a man tried to pick her up. When he asked what her type of guy was, she laughed and explained her type was a woman. He insisted that if she had sex with him, she would change her mind.
Of course she would.
After all, lesbians are only lesbians because they've never had dick, right?
Right.
Or the right dick. Yeah, exactly.
Or your dick.
I literally, like with a straight face, a man has said to me, like, you just haven't gotten the right way.
Yes.
No, I did.
Now, little did he know, I was a big hoe in my 20s when I just was trying to find out who I was, and I was sleeping with men left and right and trying to teach them how to do things because most men don't know how to do things.
This is true. This
Very
is why
true.
we become gay.
No, that's not. That's not true.
Don't say that.
That is not
No way. The reality is that, like, once I got a taste of a woman, that's it. I was done. Like, it was like, oh, this is what it's supposed to feel like. I get it now.
Yes.
When I was in college, I worked in an office, and there was a guy who worked in the office too. And one day he called me on the phone. I mean, he knew that I was a lesbian. Mm-hmm. He called me on the phone and he said, you know, and I obviously reported this. This is the early 80s. He said,
icon living right here. Okay.
Listen, don't play.
You know, I bet you wouldn't be a lesbian if you had my. I mean, literally, he called in the office.
No, we believe you, Cindy.
Yes.
And I was
it
like,
happens.
"Are you kidding me?"
Yeah, it happens all the time.
I always like to tell them, you know, that when that's the statement, you know, or that's the comment, and there's like, oh, you just haven't had my dick before. I'm like, honey, I have about 5 of them in my drawer,
and I bet they're bigger than yours.
Know, I can buy whatever size I want or she wants.
They don't go soft.
Never. They don't need a pill or anything.
No Viagra for us.
Nope.
Right.
The next one. So some men think that everything is about them. A lot of men do. We love you boys, but you do, and that's okay. As another user found out when she turned down the advances of a guy online, he got very upset and began to insult her. He said, quote, just because you put on pants and like kissing females don't make you a man. Just saying, and quote, I don't want to be a man.
Who wants to be a man?
I love being a woman.
That's a misconception that a lot of people have.
Yeah, right.
You know, I mean, it's like,
Is it because they're uncomfortable with?
Well, especially
they don't
for
know.
people who dress like me.
Well, and
You know,
listen,
who's the
you know,
man in
come
that
on.
relationship? No
I
man
don't know
here.
about you guys, okay? But when I was younger, you know, I had those like thoughts about just, man, my life would be so much easier if I was a boy,
Right.
right? I mean,
I
it's
do
like,
too.
it just
I
seemed
totally
so
do.
easy. I mean, boys they had the life,
Yeah.
right? And then as I grew up, I realized, wow, you know, they still do have the life.
Right.
But all the
a
girls
woman
really like
is-
my boobs, so I decided that I'm just gonna like, you know, be me and whatever that is, you know, and then just
Right.
be me.
And being you is great.
absolutely.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
so
That's great.
and I wear pants. A lot of
You
them.
look great in those shorts over there.
Thank you.
Yes. Or let's talk about the old standby. Why is it that men frequently feel the need to send unsolicited dick pics? You may think that a picture of your penis will change my mind. But it won't. Most lesbians probably have better ones in there. Like we just said. Bedside drawers.
Yep.
So true. And we can get ours to vibrate and do all kinds of crazy tricks.
No attachment issue.
You know,
Listen,
neat
my
If
girl-
he's
girls.
toxic, you know,
my
not
girl
all men are
Trish, my girl
toxic.
Trish is beautiful and black, and she is just my girl. Oh, I named her.
Trish.
Her name is Trish. and
Oh, yeah?
She is everything to me. Anyway, how about when somebody's saying that you were hurt by a man or you were traumatized by a man, and that's the reason that you became gay?
No,
No.
Believe me,
Yeah.
I tried so hard to be straight when I was younger.
my God.
I mean, I think especially people who
Did
were.
you have to try? Should we be put Sydney in this?
No, we
situation?
shouldn't have to try. But the
As
time
women,
that I was coming
right.
out in,
Yes.
the time that I was coming out in was, you know, this was the 70s. So
Yeah,
it was not,
it was a different
it was a
era.
different time. And, you know, I would say, you know, maybe until I was 22 or something, I'm like, just give me a pill. Give me a pill
Yeah.
and I'll take
Change
it.
it.
Oh my
And
God.
now
Of course.
I would not take a pill for
nothing.
anything.
Of course, and that's why I don't understand when people don't understand, you know, we were
These
born
laws.
this way. This is who we
Yeah.
are. You know, very similar to what Cindy said. I wished I could be straight.
Right.
A blowjob and a sandwich and a guy is happy.
Right? And
Done
that's it.
for the day. That doesn't work that way with women.
No,
women
women
are
are
we're just
much-
more sordid and more
Yes.
dramatic, and we got to talk about our feelings and
But
shit.
that's
You know what I
not
mean?
why. That's not why I would take a pill. It's because of me having to not. I wasn't allowed to be my authentic self.
Sure.
I had to hide
Your true,
my
yourself.
trueness from people who I care deeply for.
Right.
And that was the hardest part. I'm just glad that, you know, I have a lesbian niece and she is completely supported.
Love that.
I would
Like
just
I
like to
was
say,
not.
I would like to tell all the men out there who have any more lines to share with any of us and any of the other women coming up in the, you know, up in the world that, listen, you know, just like you taste pussy and you like it, so do we. Okay, and you know,
There
it's
you
just
go.
like what it is. You
And
know?
by the way, you are not original.
Yeah.
So
Not at
as
all.
you have seen by
need
all
some
of these
comment.
lines,
We've heard
No,
it
it's
before.
not. It's not. Oh, I'm not going to bring my wife around you. What do you think?
it.
Why do you think
I'm
that
not
your wife, I'm going to
interested
be
in your
into your
wife.
wife?
Right.
You know, like, well, maybe if she's hot, I am. But, I mean, but you understand? Like, come
Right.
on.
yeah.
Yeah.
Guys, get a grip.
Right?
Right.
So these are just some of the issues that women in general, and especially lesbians, have to deal with when it comes to toxic straight guys. Have you had similar experiences? Please make sure to share them in our comments on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, or Twitch.
I'm looking forward to reading those comments.
Right?
Yeah. You know,
Please share your comments.
I saw the
juicy
movie Marry Me the other day, right, with J-Lo and Maluma, right? And I watched it with a couple of straight boys and gay boys, and one of them said to me, you know, and I was like, oh, Maluma, he's so hot, you know? And they were like, wait a minute, I don't understand. You're a lesbian. Why would you say that he's hot? I'm like,
you can appreciate beauty.
That's
Any
also
gender.
another discussion.
Yeah.
You know?
Yes, yes. So my original point that I wanted to make around this story is every time you get on a dating app,
Okay.
which y'all don't know much about.
I do.
'cause y'all coupled.
I'm gonna be honest.
But-
I got
but
your back leg.
I'm
I'm on the
sorry.
dating app, just so you know.
Okay.
What are you doing on that?
How come I haven't seen you yet?
Okay.
Let me swipe
It's
and
a
see your
different
face.
kind of. It's a different kind of dating.
But the first line in almost every lesbian's profile is what? No men, no couple.
Yeah.
Like, why,
Why do you have
guys?
to say that?
Why are you even coming at us? We have obviously indicated what we're looking for, and it ain't you.
Thank you.
Right?
Stop harassing us.
Yeah. Stop slipping into the DMs, okay?
Stop sending me dick pics.
You're gonna
go
to hell.
I don't understand
You know,
that.
I'll
At
just
least
laugh.
manscape first. It makes it look bigger, bro.
Take care of it.
No, listen, I'm gonna just for little shit and giggles.
Yeah.
Okay. Because we're cursing today on Queer News Tonight.
I'm
telling you.
I was gonna kill me. I was never gonna.
I just
My
received
goodness.
this text message and I was like, who is this?
Oh.
Okay. And it was like so wild. And it's basically saying that I couldn't hold myself back from in front of my wife. And this person, this man, wanted to start kissing and licking me right there.
What?
And you were so shiny and yummy. And so she would have said,
yummy.
she would have stabbed me. And it was so funny. I just didn't reply because like the other message, I was like, oh, it's harmless, whatever. I know who
Now
it is.
he's pushing.
We
the
had great
envelope now.
conversation.
Yeah, a little bit.
Boundaries
I liked our
have definitely been
conversation.
disrespected at this
So he
point.
says, I hope I didn't offend you. And
Oh.
I'm like, or step out of
Too
line.
late.
Little late for that.
I said, listen, I don't offend easily. So, but just like that, like who are these people?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
I
What are
don't
you
send
thinking?
these
I think
kind
it
of
comes
texts to
down to,
people.
before we move on, just us setting the tone for who we are, how we value ourselves, and it will take a change. We are not sex objects. We are people that should be valued. We have minds.
I mean,
But let's stop and also acknowledge that there are plenty of straight men that support and love
Absolutely.
us, that were
Yeah.
raised right by a mom that showed them how to
But
treat
this
a woman
message,
and how to respect
it's not
a woman,
for the healthy men
etc.
and the healthy couples. This is for people who need to be educated.
Yeah.
Right.
Because I'm seeing a trend and it's upsetting.
Yeah.
We can joke about it because we're actually more mature and balanced. But what about the women who cannot
can't stand
fight
up for themselves?
So we're a voice just giving them these extra notes.
Preach, LaTonya, preach.
Love it.
All right. Next, we report on our partnership with Sunshine Cathedral, the world's largest queer church here in Fort Lauderdale. We are broadcasting from our permanent set here at Sunshine in supporting that partnership. Happening Out Television Network broadcasts the largest LGBTQ plus religious live broadcast in the world, as more than 30,000 watch every Sunday at 10:30 a.m. Eastern. Watch this.
I'm Karina Iglesias, a top 16 contestant on NBC's The Voice. The music industry is a variety of styles, types, and rhythms, and that is what fills our lives. That's why I understand diversity is so incredibly important in our LGBTQ community. And that's why Sunshine Cathedral is my queer church.
Yes, a big
adorable.
shout out to Miss Karina Iglesias. We love you. So we finished tonight's Queer News headlines with what we call LGBTQ plus flash news.
LGBTQ plus flash news. More than 160 new bills to erase LGBT. Is it time to make A in LGBTQIA a real ally? Today, the Florida House passed the Don't Say Gay bill that prevents teachers from discussing LGBTQ plus issues in the classrooms. As Aromantic Awareness Week draws to a close, these bills bring even more attention to the issues faced by aromantics and asexual individuals. ACEs are often very visible members of the queer community, but there is also very little information available about or for them. With all the bills targeting the LGBTQ plus community, the A is facing being pushed even further into obscurity. We must do all that we can to help bring asexual and aromantic issues to the forefront in order to help protect the teens who may be struggling with their differences, especially as the already limited discussion of them is being pushed further into the darkness. This is really important because a lot of asexual and aromantic folks are shunned by people in their own community because they just don't understand. So, you know, these are the types of people that we really need to surround and support.
100%, Cindy. They're the most vulnerable in our community, and you know, with all of the movement that we've had against our community lately, it can be super discouraging. But we're all going to take a page from Cindy the Icon's book and be hopeful and know, yes, we have come a long way, but we've got so much more work to do, y'all.
Yeah. Change is definitely necessary. I think we say that time and time again, and we do say hope is important because we hope for the best in our future. But if those of you watching don't take this and educate your community, it's not really going to make a difference. So I want to challenge each and every person watching this to please share your truth in love.
Yes.
You know, the A's are more important today than ever. With our midterm elections coming up, every single vote counts. We must unify. So if we need to educate ourselves on the A, all that it entails, educate yourself on it, because we all need to get together. Ally or asexual or ace, whatever it is, learn about it, include them, and we're in this together.
Yes.
And now is the time to really hold our allies accountable. And make sure that, you know, it's not just association for convenience or association for benefit. You know, let's hold our allies to their word and to their commitment to our community as well. And then also, you know, it's just time to tap into that deeper part of our human being, our human spirit, and give some love to the folks in our community who maybe don't get so inspired to feel the same way we do all the time. You know what I mean?
Yes. And show them appreciation.
And that's where we start.
Yes.
Yep.
100%.
All right. Well, you know, next let's LGBTQ flash news. Queen Latifah and the L Word's Jordan Hull star in Netflix's basketball drama Hustle. Basketball fans are getting excited as Netflix continues to tease the upcoming basketball drama Hustle. The movie is about a former talent scout trying to revive his career by recruiting a new star from overseas for the NBA. As more and more cast members are announced, it has been revealed that Queen Latifah, Jordan Hull from the L Word, and the sexy Argentinian Maria Botto are sure to bring, and that was like terrible as a Latina. Botto, okay, whatever. Anyways, Maria Botto, if I did that, sorry, are sure to bring in plenty of interest for the ladies as well. Well, your name just did, for sure.
Right?
And I saw the previews, so I was like, Queen Latifah's in this? Like, where are they at in the previews? Maybe the new previews are going to also include these women that we're reporting on. Yeah.
Well, I love Queen Latifah.
Yes.
And I think this is going to be a fun movie, and I'm going to watch it.
So I don't do sports normally, but I'm with Cindy. I love the Queen. All hail the Queen. Let's support her and all of the other ladies.
Yeah. And I actually have Netflix, so.
Yeah, there you go.
Queen Latifah all the way. Nothing you can really say bad about her because she uses her music and her movies to be a voice for women, and then as far as our LGBTQIA community. She's an ally of everyone within the community. So I'm also looking forward to her working with Adam Sandler. Even though we didn't mention him, I'm looking forward to them working together on the scene.
Written by Adam Sandler and LeBron James. Okay, this is going to be fantabulous.
Right.
And little side note, Miss Queen Latifah sent me a bottle of champagne at Liquid in the 90s.
Ooh. Wow.
I danced with her.
Were you old enough to be in the 90s? You were underage in that part.
LGBTQ plus flash news. Largely queer U.S. women's national soccer team supports trans kids during game in Texas. Last night, the U.S. women's national soccer team played a She Believes Cup game in Frisco, Texas. Captain Becky Sauerbrunn, along with players like Katerina Macarario, see, I messed it up too, Josie, you see? Margaret Persay and others wore tape on their wrists with the words "Protect Trans Kids" written in black ink before they took on Iceland in their third of 3 matches. Sauerbrunn and her teammates issued their subtle statement just one day after the rights of transgender youth in the state came under fire, as Texas Governor Greg Abbott sent a letter to the Department of Family and Protective Services ordering the agency to investigate reports of gender transitioning procedures as child abuse. End quote.
So that last sentence is troublesome, obviously. I can't even begin to imagine how that's hitting our trans community. I do want to do a huge shout out to my idol, Abby Wambach, because the U.S. soccer and U.S. women's national soccer team just won their equal pay lawsuit for $24 million.
They did, absolutely.
That's about damn
I think it was yesterday or the day before.
I'm glad you brought that up, Ms. Lexi.
Yes.
And these were the same women that were saying that they were getting not good gyms, and they were getting bad food.
And they're the ones who were winning world championships. Not the men.
It's across all the sports.
Well, and can I tell you that this soccer team, because they were all women, they were the ones who kind of welcomed me to start watching the Olympics. I was not into any of that until they came up on the scene.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, they've done a lot for the sport.
This just goes to show how important public representation matters.
Yes, it does.
Because a lot of our youth do watch social media, so to see this will encourage them by far with what they're seeing with the laws that's being passed. Gives them something to believe in.
What Governor Abbott is doing is child abuse.
Go Beto.
All right, LaTonya.
All right, next, LGBTQ plus flash news. The lesbian rabbi queering religion at a Jesuit Catholic university. A Catholic university advisor, a lesbian, and a rabbi walk into a bar. So this is a joke, okay, guys? Bear with me. Hi, I'm Camilla Angel. She said, jokes aside, a Jesuit Catholic university appointing a rabbi in residence, especially a lesbian activist rabbi, is almost unheard of. In an interview, Rabbi Angel said, I was trained and I'm a rabbi to serve Jews, and I lead a Chevy 2 nights ago, and I'm definitely still serving Jews. But there's something remarkable for me and totally unexpected about my rabbinate being primarily among non-Jews at the point, and that my teaching is primarily with non-Jews, end quote. According to Angel, there is only Jewish students in her queering religion, class of 40. The other students represent a mix of religious affiliations, but they gravitate to Angel's classes and programs because of the inclusive queer community she has cultivated on campus. So we're going to focus on religion and inclusion, diversity, women. I think it's a lot to talk about and to focus on within this sector. What are your thoughts?
Interesting that there's only one Jewish person in her class of 40 students.
Yeah, right? And all the other 39 want to know about us?
Yes, yes, and they want to be in her class because she's making it so inclusive and such a great environment.
Right, and there is a big movement in Reformed temples and synagogues and the more progressive community. They are very open, and there is a lot of inter-religion stuff going on. Yeah. You know, there are a lot of similarities between religions. I mean, if you get right down to the bottom line, they all teach you to love your neighbor as your friend,
serve others,
to treat your body as a temple. I mean, they all say the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. Big shout out to Rabbi Amy. I love her. She
at Temple Israel.
Temple Israel down. You know, I go to Unity on the Bay, and Unity on the Bay right now presently does their services at Temple Israel, right? And so Rabbi Amy is the rabbi at Temple Israel, and she does our services sometimes, and her messages are just so spot on, but entertaining.
And she's a lesbian.
And she's a lesbian, and she's got a beautiful partner who just celebrated her birthday as well.
And they both have kids.
And they have beautiful children, and it's just, you know, I just love her. Love her.
Ministry.
Yeah. Good stuff.
Reform ministry.
Girls taking over.
All right. We run the world. Next up on LGBTQ plus Flash News, fans think Arthur character is lesbian. After 25 years, the children's cartoon Arthur has come to an end. Aww. In the finale, the cast is shown as adults. I feel like that's so much fun. And there may be some queer representation, even more fun. People are reacting to the show's Francine as the monkey has grown up to become a sneaker designer. We love that for her. Many are pointing to her hairstyle and new clothes as indications that Francine may have grown up to be a lesbian. So are we looking at her look and stereotyping that a little bit, maybe, right?
Absolutely.
So I can't tell you how many times I've approached a straight woman in a bar thinking one thing and it's not correct. So I've been there, done that.
Your gaydar's off.
Gaydar's off all the time.
It happens.
Yeah, I mean, what? Because the monkey has a short haircut, a funky. So what are we saying? All lesbians are funky.
Funky monkeys? All lesbians are funky monkeys.
Yeah, and what is it? Why do they make these? Why do they go back to these cartoons that were fine how they were and then put them as adults?
Yeah,
I just saw South Park the other day and they have them like as adults. I was so lost that this cannot be. No, kill Kenny. No,
Well,
right?
No, really?
Can't say that.
You know, Francine does dress a little bit like me now.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
maybe.
Yeah, I was
She
laughing.
could just be artsy.
Right?
Yeah.
She could just be a sneaker designer that she is.
Yeah, she's funky.
I mean, she dresses like my Thea Mildred, and my Thea Mildred is not gay.
And why do like all the straight people want to make everything gay? We don't even want to make everything gay. So like, why
They don't know what gay is.
It's like remember the purple Teletubby.
Yeah. Oh my God.
Or the Power
Twisting it
Rangers.
up.
Remember when the Power Ranger was gay too?
It's our little gay secret agenda.
Right.
You know,
It's
we're seeping into every media outlet. Oh God.
Right.
Well, I
Don't
laughed
sleep
when
in
I
that
read
way.
the article's title because I thought they were saying everyone thought Arthur was a lesbian, and I'm like, oh.
Arthur was a boy.
Wait.
Listen, I was about to say.
So I guess technically, if he's a heterosexual boy, then maybe, yeah, he's a lesbian.
Okay.
Oh, wow. All right. So on that note, you know, that is today's news for the LGBTQ community on the world's first and only LGBTQ evening news show. It's our community.
Tell it.
Sorry.
Yes.
I'm getting
Get out.
excited here,
Come
guys.
on, sister.
But let me ask you, is our community important to you?
Then help us by liking and subscribing. Ring the bell for updates and share this news with your friends and family.
And your fans.
Your family.
I have fans. I have only fans. Post this
Subscription.
broadcast. Yes.
Someone give me a subscription.
Me too.
Okay.
Post this broadcast in the many groups you are a member of. Tonight's stories about our community deserves the attention of your family and your friends.
Queer News Tonight is the only live LGBTQ plus digital television show in the world that is out of the closet and into the headlines. And we need your support.
If our community is to grow, we must tell our stories and bring them to the attention of the broader world. This is the only place in the world that tells these LGBTQ plus stories in motion and sound. That is the passion of Happening Out Television Network and Queer News Tonight. I am your anchor that is super proud of my girls. FayWhat! And on behalf of these LGBTQ plus reporters, the amazing anchors of Queer News Tonight, including Chef Josie, Cindy Brown, LaTonya Hopson, and Lexi Goza, we will see you daily at 8 p.m. or at the next Lesbian Takeover. Woo, woo!
That's right.
But before we end the show, we have one final story. Let's finish the show by queering up politics. Loud and proud Rep. Michelle Rayner, Florida's first lesbian woman of color, runs for Congress. Finally tonight, we have one more important story, and it's a story that affects LGBTQ lives in Florida. Florida has become ground zero over conservative actions against the LGBTQ plus community, including trans rights, school and book bans over LGBTQ content, our children, and Don't Say Gay. The Woke Act to allow parents to sue schools and teachers if their child is uncomfortable discussing prides, LGBTQ history, even the facts surrounding Pulse.
This week, the author of the Don't Say Gay bill tried to add an amendment that would have schools forcibly out LGBTQ children to their parents, even if it would destroy the child. So the November midterm elections are incredibly important to the gay community. Today, the Florida House passed both Don't Say Gay by 69 to 47 and the woke We Will Sue Your Ass Off If You Make Me Feel Uncomfortable over LGBT by 74 to 41.
Just 7 Republicans crossed the aisle and voted no on these hateful bills. Tonight, we bring you an interview with Florida's first state lesbian woman of color, Michelle Rayner. Representative Rayner voted no on all bills and amendments. She spoke at the Florida LGBTQ+ Democratic Caucus called Turn It Up, Turn It Out. She introduced Nadine Smith of Equality Florida before the state's largest gathering of LGBTQ+ political advocates in St. Petersburg, and then walked to our Happening Out television pop-up studio for an exclusive interview.
She is a firebrand that reminds us of a preacher from the Black church as she rises the reference on what is right and just. National publications are suggesting that Rayner's no-holds-barred speaking style may be the antidote to Florida's dangerous conservative shift and Governor Ron DeSantis' groundwork to president in 2024. And she is queer, she is Black, and she is a woman.
And I am so happy that we ended with that story, I have to tell you, because that gives me hope, just like Cindy. Today is a special lesbian takeover of Queer News Tonight. We constantly say here at the Happening Out television network that representation matters. How appropriate on this dark day in Florida for our LGBTQ children, for our Black and brown school students, that we can bring the emotional words of the first lesbian Black woman to represent in Florida. Rayner is now a candidate for U.S. Congress.
You get to see Al Ferguson's exclusive interview first, and then her powerful speech before the LGBTQ community, Florida state representatives, and now U.S. congressional candidate Michelle Rayner. Watch this.
Well, it's Al Ferguson from Queer News Tonight, and we are here this evening at the Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus. And I am very pleased to introduce somebody that I have not met before. But I listened to her today, and she wowed this caucus convention meeting, and that is Representative Michelle Rayner. You know her because she is tearing it up in Tallahassee right now. I don't know if you're following the news, but there's a little stuff going on in Tallahassee. I hosted a workshop conversation today called What in the Hell is Going On in Tallahassee? And you were front and center to kind of explain it to us. Welcome to Queer News Tonight.
Thank you so much, Al, for having me.
Tell us a little bit about what you are seeing in Tallahassee. For everybody, just quick summary, we're talking about book bans, we're talking about you can't talk in schools, we're talking about, wait, don't make me feel uncomfortable in any way.
Yes.
You know, it goes on and on and on.
Honestly, it does go on. And what we're seeing is like literally anti-LGBTQ bills. We're seeing anti-Black bills, anti-Hispanic bills, anything. And I say this and people get mad, but if you are not a white, cisgender, heterosexual male, they don't want to hear from you.
Oh, thank goodness. One of those boxes I didn't check.
Right. And so, you know, that's really kind of where it's at. And so we're having bills that are, you know, attacking teachers, attacking our children, attacking people, attacking companies, not allowing them to do what we need as far as, you know, DEI training. And really one of the things that really hurts me is really the Don't Say Gay bill, because we know that our babies need us. We know that LGBTQ youth are 40% more likely to commit suicide, to be homeless, and to tell our children that they don't matter is, I think, the most unconscionable thing that you can ever do.
You know, I have to say, when I was sitting listening to you and the panel you participated in today, I turned to a colleague, a press colleague of mine, and I said, my goodness, I feel like I'm in church because you were just preaching up a storm, and it was very motivational. I'm curious in terms of the words that were coming out of your mouth. Retell the story about the offend about trying to tell you about Black or the LGBTQ community or other minority. Tell us about how you feel about why this select group seems to be attacking at every turn.
I mean, here's the thing. It's all about power for them. And it's about, you know, othering us, right? And it's about saying that you are the other and then dividing us. And then we know what happens when you are the other and you're dividing us. We know that there's harm that happens. We know that there's hate that happens, all of those things that happen. And so I'm really concerned. I'm deeply concerned about what's happening. And a lot of the things, Al, I think that they're depending on and banking on that folks won't know what's happening in Tallahassee. That all of a sudden, you know, these bills will pass and they're like, oh my goodness, because they are trying to keep it in the dark so people do not know what is occurring.
You know, I haven't heard the phraseology in the way that you did today and you've just done now. You're really coining a phrase of othering.
Yes.
And what you mean, at least in terms of what I hear on the othering, is that as long as I can create fear in someone else, it means that you're going to vote for me. Is that your point?
Correct. And they are using that fear and that homophobia and that racism and that transphobia really to say, these are the others. If you support, if you love, if you whatever, that means we're going to be taking over. But here's the thing. Everybody loves someone who is a member of the LGBTQ community, whether they've come out to you or not. Whether it's your sister, your mama, your brother, your auntie, and your uncles. So really, I always say, you know, I'm very proud, you know, with my wife, and I have her come to the Capitol because I want them to know that when you are passing these bills, you are not only affecting us, and we're grown, we're going to be okay, but you're also possibly affecting our future children and their children. And so these bills have real life consequences.
I want to ask about their argument that it isn't what we say it is. The Don't Say Gay is focusing on primary school. You were really clear, and other representatives and senators in Tallahassee standing against Don't Say Gay were really clear that this is the beachhead that they're going to create. And they build a rock and they create the beachhead, and then they reinterpret tomorrow, next week, next year, and they expand the reduction of rights. Explain that concept to us.
I mean, this is like, you know, Florida is the test state, and they know if they can get away with this, they can get away with other things. And the issue is that they're saying that these inappropriate conversations are happening, but there's been no receipts, no facts to show us that these conversations are happening in school. So if we can pass this harmful bill, and maybe the next one that's attached to it, then you're going to see a next session. They're going to go even further, and then the next, and then where are we going to be? Here's the thing. My wife told me this when I met her. She goes, "I'm too cute to be in anybody's closet."
Right.
We are too cute to be in anybody's closet.
Exactly.
We have come too far, and we have fought too hard to be in anyone's closet. And we most certainly will make sure our children won't do that as well.
You know, and by the way, to the viewers of Queer News Tonight, I love that a state representative in Florida uses a phrase of bringing the receipts. That is,
I got that from my wife. So my wife will always say, "People lie, receipts don't." And so I'm always like, the receipts.
Yes, it's a very RuPaul's Drag Race phrase that we love.
I always say that, the receipts, honey.
That's right, the receipts, honey. All right, well, help us, last theme of question, help us understand what you think the LGBTQ community should be doing. You're sitting there, you're in committee, it's being pushed along, it's going to come to the House floor, and you're fighting and fighting. What can we, as just rank and file of members of our community, what can we do to help support your efforts?
One, I think that I always tell people, don't call me, call the Republicans, call the people that are pushing this forward. But number two, mobilize. And also, like, I want to take a page from like the bus boycott. These people that are pushing forward these efforts, if they have businesses or if they're corporations that are withhold our money. We are one of the biggest spending blocks, are we not? Withhold our money, withhold our vote, say we're not going to support you. And I think, and unfortunately, with a lot of these folks, it's the money, it's the economic part that actually really makes a difference. But I think that we have to coalesce together, and we have to say that you're not going to be able to do this on our watch, and really also just calling and talking, but mobilizing. But if there's any monetary interest and if there's any corporations that are going to be behind this hateful rhetoric, we're going to withhold our money. We're not going to be able to do business with you if you don't value our lives.
And my last question to you, Representative Rayner, I'm fascinated by the tremendous moment we are in.
Yeah.
We thought with the election of Joe Biden that finally we were done with him. And we're a year later, and arguably in Florida, it's worse than with him. Even. It must be very discouraging for you to be a state representative in Tallahassee to fight the fights that you're having to fight on our behalf, and really all the people in Florida. How do you stay positive? How do you not get discouraged? Explain that experience to us of what helps you get up in the morning.
I think a couple of things. One, I have a wonderful, tremendous wife who is very supportive. Number two, I know why I'm fighting. I know that, you know, like I said earlier, my wife and I are grown. We're going to be okay. There's a privilege that we have, but I'm fighting for our kids. I mean, I can't tell you, Al, how many, you know, children have come up to me and said, I never thought I could do this, but I saw you. So I keep that in mind. And then also I make sure I kind of quiet down and I power down and kind of get back to my center and to my core. And that's really the work that I do. And then I do it again. And then I get up and do it because I also understand if not me, then who? My mother always says, to whom much is given, much is required. And so I know the space that I'm in and I know why I'm here. And I'm going to do it until the people tell me they don't want me to do it anymore. But that's why I do what I do. And that's kind of centers me.
Well, I love that I'm here at the Florida LGBTQ Democratic Caucus because I've met a lion in our community. And in this day of the times that we're watching, we need more lions. We wish you all the luck. And we're going to talk to you many more times.
I welcome it.
Because the fight is, as you said, it's going to be long and hard. Representative Michelle Rayner from the state of Florida, proud member of the LGBTQ community. Thank you for being on Queer News tonight.
Thank you for having me.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Laura are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire LGBT.
You are the past is battle cry of LGBTQ Ukrainians' defiant message to Putin after invasion. Late last night, news broke here in the U.S. that bombings of the Ukraine by Russian forces had begun. Putin televised his announcement of the military operation, much to the shock of the rest of the world. Russia has targeted the Kyiv airport as well as Ukrainian military command posts in Kyiv and Kharkov. Kyiv Pride, one of the country's biggest LGBTQ plus rights groups, hit out at Russia and Vladimir Putin on Twitter on Thursday morning as news of the invasion broke. They tweeted, quote, to all our supporters in the world, call on your governments to stand up and to take action against the war in Ukraine. We need to stop it now. We need to show how powerful we are all together, and Putin will stand no chance, end quote. Wow, it happened. It really happened.
It really did.
This is really scary. You know, Vladimir Putin is like a cowboy thinking he's taking over countries, what is that? I thought we stopped doing that years ago.
The name alone frightens me.
His name Putin, that's it? I call him putrid Putin.
And look at the picture.
And when we think about it, I mean, you see these images now coming out of of Ukraine, and we
horrible.
have bombs being, blasted into residential areas. Okay, these are this is just and then Putin also like stating that if anyone retaliates, that he's going to show the world a horror that we have not seen in our lifetime. Like, this is not only scary because we've allowed him to just sit in power there, continuing to gain resources and solidify his grip in that part of the world. And
our former president celebrated that fact.
Exactly.
Well, and do we even have to talk about the kill list that they were talking about?
I'm glad you brought that up.
That's awful. We talked about it on Queer News Tonight yesterday. And the kill list has journalists, has advocates, has activists, but also primarily has LGBTQ folks on that list.
Absolutely.
So basically they would come into your house, take you out, and kill you or put you in a concentration camp for loving who you love.
Right. So we were,
and that's going to be okay.
We were talking about
Never
that
gonna
on Queer
be
News
okay.
Tonight last night, right? And so my thought around this article today is what courage it took them to tweet that out, right?
Absolutely.
Because nowadays with social media, it's
got
much
targets on
easier
their back.
to identify people who are LGBTQ, and for them to stand up and say, please help us, I feel like is a huge act of courage.
Wow, it's just courage all around. I had mentioned yesterday that I had seen a news, I think it was CNN or something, and it was like a desperate mother pleading with her son to please come home. He fell in love with a boy in Ukraine and stays there and doesn't want to come home because he doesn't want to leave him. And his mom is bawling, like, please, honey, you're an American, get home. I can't, Mom, I can't leave. I mean, it's heartbreaking. We'll be following this, and we're prayers being sent out to all those people on the kill list, and Putin, I'd love to see that there.
LGBTQ plus news is vital for our community and for the broader world as a whole. We have enough enemies at Fox News. Tucker, Sean, and Lara are loud. We need passionate allies. Happening Out television network, Queer News Tonight, and It's Happening Out are literally out of the closet and into the headlines. Our community needs your support. Like this broadcast and subscribe now to ensure the growth of the entire